Beautiful man to ever stand in front of a movie camera.
I mean, he's such a specimen of maleness.
He can look at you in a way and the camera just stops.
What's your name and unit?
Hänen lapsuusvuosiaan varjosti köyhyys ja puute. Tämä Edinburghin vuokrakasarmien kasvatti varttui mieheksi, joka tunnistettaisiin kaikkialla maailmassa.
What is it?
Sean Connery probably is the biggest star in the world.
He's beyond famous into another thing in Scotland, into sort of semi-canonisation. He's more famous than the Pope.
Sean Connery on veteraaninäyttelijä, joka on esiintynyt lähes 70 elokuvassa sekä lukemattomissa teatteri- ja televisionäytelmissä. Elämäntyöllään hän on saavuttanut filmitähdelle harvinaisen valta-aseman. Vaikka Connery on vahvasti leimautunut James Bondiksi, hänen näyttelijän kykyjään tuskin kukaan epäilee.
Peachy, I'm heartily ashamed for getting you killed instead of going home rich like you deserve to, on account of me being so bleeding high and bloody mighty. Can you forgive me?
There's a side to Sean Connery that I don't think a lot of us get to see.
He's a totally no bullshit kind of man.
It's like when the guy phones up and says you've been voted the sexiest man alive. Well, I mean, what are you supposed to reply to that, eh?
He has a sparkle, yes, he has. Like a child, he has an enthusiasm. It was wonderful. I don't think he could make the film he makes if he didn't have the enthusiasm.
Muotokuva Sean Connerysta, perheen ja ystävien piirtämänä. Sean Connery syntyi köyhään työläiskotiin elokuussa 1930 ja vietti lapsuutensa lamakauden koetellessa maailmaa. Perheen vaikean taloudellisen tilanteen takia hän joutui hankkimaan työpaikan jo pikkupoikana.
When I was 9, I started to work, and I used to walk to work in the dark. My mother went to work at the same time, and then I used to go straight from there at 6 in the morning and go straight to school. In 1940, we were moved out of the schools into private houses, which was wonderful. I never went back to school. I just left. And it's only later how much I kind of regretted, how much I had dodged a bullet in school. But I got a horse and cart, and I delivered the milk and coal, potatoes and all that kind of stuff.
The Edinburgh Film Festival has its headquarters in this building. They're opposite the Usher Hall in Edinburgh. And they got Sean to open it, and someone said, "Have you ever been in this building before?" And he said, "Well, I used to deliver the milk here." He was the milkman, you know, with the horse and the... And that's the, and he said it seriously, it wasn't a joke. And that's a side of him that I absolutely love. He doesn't differentiate between the milkman and the star.
I never had that sense of being genuinely poor. It was only later that when I sort of got away and went to the Navy at 16 that I was really conscious of how different everything was in other places, how much better it could be.
Connery vietti 3 vuotta laivastossa, kunnes sai eron terveyssyistä. Hän joutui takaisin kadulle ilman minkäänlaista ammattia.
I was quite skinny, although wiry, and I started doing bodybuilding. And I went down to London for the Mr. Universe contest, representing Scotland in the tall man's class.
He always says his calves are his weak point. And I've studied them, and my calves are really Jesse ones, but his are beauties. So the other guys must have had calves like stallions.
Connery tuli toiseksi Mr. Universe-kilpailussa. Hänelle tarjottiin paikkaa ammattilaisjalkapallojoukkueeseen, mutta hän valitsi näyttelijän uran. Ensimmäisen kokemuksensa näyttelijän työstä hän sai South Pacific-musikaalin miestanssijoiden ryhmässä.
They asked me to do some handsprings and handstands and things, and one had to look like an American, which I suppose I could pass for.
South Pacificista Sean Conneryn ura jatkui teatteriin ja lopulta televisioon.
I never felt comfortable in that sort of BBC situation because I was not one of the old boy network. I didn't go to any of their public schools and I did not particularly appear English. But I certainly could have played hundreds of parts that never came my way.
Sean has learned through the years how to act. In fact, I always tease people and say, if Sean Connery can learn how to act, so can you. But it isn't necessarily true.
Vuonna 1957 Alvin Rakoff tuotti BBClle Rod Serlingin näytelmän Requiem for a Heavyweight. Päärooliin aiottu näyttelijä luopui
Saturday night I spoke to the lady who subsequently became my wife. And she said, have you interviewed Sean Connery? And I said, Sean Connery? Why would I interview Sean? And she said, the ladies would like it. And the rest is history.
Kriitikot kehuivat yksimielisesti Sean Conneryn suoritusta. Niinpä 20th Century Fox tarjosi hänelle pitkää sopimusta. Connery teki 50-luvun loppupuolella useita elokuvia, joista vain harvat edistivät hänen uraansa. Sitten vuonna 1958 Lana Turner valitsi hänet vastanäyttelijäkseen elokuvaan Sotakirjeenvaihtaja.
I liked her enormously, I must say. The press made such a thing of the fact that she was 42 and I was 28.
Connery lähti ensimmäiselle Hollywoodin matkalleen. Disneyn studio oli kiinnittänyt hänet mielikuvitukselliseen rakkaustarinaan MacBride ja Pikkuväki.
He looked like an American. He looked like a star, you know, with hair and muscles and his shirt rolled tight over his muscles. And we all in Scotland saw ourselves as little scrawny Glaswegians, you know, little Edinburgh guys. Suddenly there's this big guy.
When he first started out, his agent or somebody suggested that he get rid of his accent. And, so he would have a wider range. And he said, forget about it. He says, I don't care. He says, this is the way I talk. This is me.
Samaan aikaan Connery jatkoi myös teatterityötään.
We were doing Arthur Miller and Rod Serling and Anna Karenina.
Alexis.
Oh, I can't stand this. I must touch you. My mouth on your cheek. I can't stand it and I want you. You don't love me, not the way I love you. All you think about is your child.
Anna Kareninan jälkeen Connery sai elämänsä tilaisuuden. Ian Flemingin agenttitarinoiden tuottajat pyysivät häntä koikkuvaukseen James Bondin roolia varten.
The producers had to be saying to themselves, we're never going to find a guy who is as physically fit and sexually powerful and intelligent and tough enough and clever enough and sophisticated enough to bring the character to the screen.
Cubby and I went through, I would say, 200 actors. I like the way he moved.
At the time, Ian Fleming wanted Cary Grant, but at $1 million to make the movie, I would take care of Cary Grant and they would have no movie.
9 à la banque.
I need another 1,000.
I admire your courage, Miss...
Trench. Sylvia Trench. I admire your luck, Mr...
Bond. James Bond.
From the very beginning, from his first moments on screen.
Looks like you're out to get me.
He was tremendously well liked by both men and women.
This is one of the most beautiful men I have ever seen on screen. This guy holds a close-up. You can't take your eyes off him.
You know, when you're in a room with Sean, women go very wobbly and strange. And they go, ah, and make little noises. But men do too. Men go very weird when Sean walks into a room. The voices go up a little. Men's voices raise a little. Ah, they do a little yodel.
It must have been 62 or something like that. And we really wanted to go see, Bond film. I don't remember which one it was. And of course our parents didn't want us to go. And we were trying to figure out how to get there.
Oh, Mr. Bond, I was thinking, why don't you collect me at my apartment? It's lovely up here in the mountains.
Her directions were easy to follow. She sent a few of her friends to make sure I didn't get lost.
Bond-elokuvissa oli seksiä ja väkivaltaa, mutta yleisö rakasti niitä.
She thought I was dead, but I proceeded to prove her wrong. I thought it was always polite to not press before shooting.
Bond film, they were so amoral, and they were so kind of lascivious. And that was really what was wonderful about them. I guess you couldn't do those things now, but there's the scene where she's in his bed, and he sits down and he says,
You're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen.
Thank you. But I think my mouth is too big.
No, it's the right size. For me, that is.
You just think these guys could say anything and do anything.
It's a pure kind of fantasy thing too, and you really have to ask somebody like Ian Fleming, which is kind of difficult because he's dead. But there's a lot of the kind of schoolboy stuff in it too.
James Bondista tuli kansainvälinen seksisymboli ja Sean Connerysta maailman kuuluisin elokuvatähti.
It was a phenomenon then. It was around the same time as the Beatles. The difference was that they had four of them to be able to deal with it.
Kun Bond-kuume riehui korkeimmillaan, 32-vuotias Sean Connery avioitui näyttelijä Diane Chilenton kanssa. Heille syntyi poika Jason. James Bondin kansainvälinen menestys koitui kuitenkin taakaksi Connerylle ja hänen vaimolle.
Everywhere you go, you can't be by yourself at all, really, because there's always someone coming out from behind a tree or big eyes from everywhere. And I think that, I feel it myself. I don't like being stared at all the time.
Tuottaja vetosi lehdistöön Japanin kuvausten aikana.
He hasn't even had his lunch right now. He had to go back up to his room because he didn't have the privacy of having a little lunch. Now, he's an actor. He's here to do a job. He's not just a publicity idol.
I mean, you can't believe, once it started to take over, how difficult it was then to do anything or go anywhere. Even making a movie. They were in the toilet with the cameras and stuff. Now, I can't think of anything less interesting for anybody, unless there's something rather strange about them, to want to see me in whatever stage of being in the toilet.
Stop! Look! He's gunning for trouble.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.
007. It spells...
Bond-elokuvissa oli lupa tappaa ja naisia kohdeltiin usein karkeasti. Se aiheutti kritiikkiä Connerya kohtaan.
The women's movement are quite right to be against it because, after all, it's the easiest thing in the world for a man to overpower a woman, certainly to beat her, whatever else. I'm absolutely against it. I am anti-violence, without question.
What's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this?
I'd say he loves women.
Is it a bit too disfiguring when she goes very hard in? Yeah.
I've seen this man around women, around men. He has great respect for people in general. I wouldn't be here if I believed otherwise.
I don't think people really ever stop to think how great the entrapment is of a certain kind of fame. That way in which you just get review after review saying, he's just James Bond, that's all he'll ever be. Endless pressure to stay in your box.
I knew that I wanted to do many different things as an actor, and I had done many different things, but I'm certainly not going to take a PR rep and say, look, I want to put out now, I've now decided to be a serious actor, I've now decided I'm going to do parts about this and parts about that. And you do it.
How do you do? I'm Alfred Hitchcock, and I would like to tell you about my latest motion picture, Marnie. This is Mark coming down the stairs of his family.
Connery pyrki eroon Bondin leimastaan ja teki sen omilla ehdoillaan. Kun Hitchcock tarjosi hänelle pääosaa elokuvassa Marnie, Connery halusi ensin lukea käsikirjoituksen. Sellaista ei yleensä tehty, kun mestariohjaaja tarjosi roolia.
This gave him an opportunity to be a totally different character, and one that was completely different from the James Bond piece.
The colors. Stop the colors. What colors? Marnie's trouble goes deeper than that.
This was such a departure because it was a real study of two people, which is a wonderful, wonderful vehicle for any actor to be able to have a role as in-depth as the roles that Sean and I played in Marnie.
James Bondien välissä Connery ehti tehdä useita erilaisia filmejä. Hän kehittyi näyttelijänä ja laajensi henkilöhahmojensa skaalaa.
Wasn't a conscious step, it was an awareness that I would have to keep getting my feet wet in the directions that my instinct would take me to be able to get some kind of counterbalance to the situation with the Bond.
There's a general cliche that if you know how to do light comedy well, which is what the Bond films are, all you have to do is be charming.
Oh,
Forgive me.
why do you always wear that thing?
I have a slight inferiority complex. Where was I? Oh, yes.
I didn't feel any of it was just charm, whatever that means. That kind of performance comes out of real acting talent.
Sean Connery näytteli 5. Sidney Lumen ohjaamassa elokuvassa. Kriitikot ylistivät Conneryn suoritusta Kukkulassa, joka oli niistä ensimmäinen.
Stand up and stand still, or I'll... Yes, I will, my feet. Now what's the charge? Failing to obey an order? Oh no, drunk in charge of a cigarette lighter? Oh, you crazy bastard! You'd prop up dead men and inspect them if you was ordered to. Right. You're right.
I think he is one of the most complex men I've ever known. He was using himself. He was really using his own innards. It wasn't character. That kind of a rebel, that kind of a totally balanced man in the sense of this is just, this is unjust. That very clear line that character draws in terms of his behavior and other people's behavior. And Sean is like that.
I'm not sure what Sidney means in terms of the complexities. I always attempt to make everything as simple as possible. Whatever it is, whatever the character is, whatever the storytelling is.
We begin here. It's October 1965. The receivers, they're in at Fairfield Shipyard.
Connery ei koskaan unohtanut juuriaan. Bond-tähteytensä huipulla hän kirjoitti ja ohjasi draamadokumentin Skotlannin sosiaalisista oloista. Tapahtumapaikaksi hän valitsi laivatelakan.
I had seen him. I was a welder in a shipyard and he was making a documentary. And we used to gaze at him. My God, look who's here. This Scottish icon would come and go, but I never had the temerity to say hello or anything.
Connery on suorastaan intohimoisesti kiintynyt kotiseutuunsa Skotlantiin. Hänen huolensa skotlantilaisten elinolojen parantamisesta on hyvin henkilökohtaista laatua.
Well, we never had this much fun when I was learning a trade.
One of the few things I really believe in is education. Maybe because I had been sort of neglected in my own past, I think probably.
Vuonna 1971 Connery suostui esittämään James Bondia filmissä Timantit ovat ikuisia, josta saamansa $1,2 miljoonan palkkion hän lahjoitti perustamalleen säätiölle Scottish International Education Trust. Yli 20 vuotta säätiö on tukenut koulutusta, taiteita ja nuoria urheilijoita myöntämällä joka vuosi stipendejä yli 80 000 punnan arvosta.
The idea is that anybody who has any kind of talent whatsoever in Scotland can apply, and they will be of some assistance if they merit it. Male, female, age is no concern.
Connery suostui viimeiseksi luulemansa Bond-elokuvaan Timantit ovat ikuisia, osittain siitäkin syystä, että pääsisi sen turvin tuottamaan omia elokuviaan. Ensimmäinen niistä oli Painostus.
Let's face it, he was playing a man who has an over-identity with a child molester. So, finds himself so tied to him emotionally that he has to kill him, and he's killing a part of himself when he's doing that. And Sean, of course, was totally aware of all of that. He doesn't intellectualize things, but boy, oh boy, he knows all the nooks and crannies and has delved into all the corners of the character.
That was the first of the pictures, standalone films I set up. And I got Sidney to direct it, and I produced it with my company. We shot the film in 4 weeks, including a week of rehearsals.
Connery esitti elokuvassa etsivää, joka oli vakuuttunut pedofiilin syyllisyydestä. Lasten ahdistelijan roolissa oli Ian Bannon.
All right, Confucius says...
No more bloody jokes.
Lie back and enjoy it.
Listen to me.
And that's the cut.
I think Sean would be furious at me for saying it. He's also a real artist. I think there's a lot that he wants to get out and say. He would use the excuse that I want to get away from the Bond kind of parts, but boy, did he get away from the Bond kind of parts.
Is it the same for you? Is your mind full of things all the time? Thoughts? Pictures? Smooth white legs? Thighs and breasts? Blood? Pain?
You're hurting me.
Help me.
Hurting me.
Help me.
Help your bloody self, will you?
Painostus valmistui vuonna 1973. Hyvistä arvosteluista huolimatta se ei vetänyt yleisöä. Studio keskittyi enemmän Conneryn mainostamiseen Bondina. Samana vuonna, kun hän teki painostuksen, hänen avioliittonsa Diane Chilenton kanssa päättyi eroon ja hänen isänsä kuoli.
When I met him, I just very quickly wanted to protect him. He really needs to be protected.
Sean tapasi Michelin Rock Brunin golfkentällä Michelinin kotiseudulla Marokossa. He rakastuivat, menivät naimisiin vuonna 1975 ja alkoivat kasvattaa yhteistä perhettä. Heidän lämmin suhteensa heijastui Seanin työhön, sillä hän teki pian näyttelijän uransa pari suurinta roolia. Conneryn 70-luvun elokuvista ehkä kaikkein suosituin oli Seikkailujen sankari.
There's a bigger one. Why, Danny? You only have to fill our pockets and walk out of it to be millionaires.
John Houstonin ohjaama elokuva kertoi 2 brittiarmeijan upseerista, jotka lähtivät etsimään muinaista aarretta. Ystävyksiä esittivät Sean Connery ja Michael Caine.
Riflemen, prepare to advance.
Originally, it was intended that Clark Gable and Humphrey Bogart play the parts that Sean Connery and Michael Caine are doing now.
It was a 22-page short story by Rudyard Kipling, and the two characters were so well conceived that we changed scenes when we were making the movie, and it didn't make any difference because the concept was that it was one complete man, and it was based on friendship.
Peachy, I'm heartily ashamed for getting you killed instead of going home rich like you deserve to, on account of me being so bleeding high and bloody mighty. Can you forgive me?
That I can, and that I do, Danny. Free and full, and without let or hindrance.
Everything's all right.
There was this great character that was going through this incredible situation, thinking he had become a god, And it was like almost childlike.
One of my favorite scenes, the ending of The Man Who Would Be King, when he's going across the bridge and the bridge collapses and he falls to his death.
It's all yours.
I think that's probably my favorite Sean Connery film.
Seikkailujen sankareiden jälkeen Connery sai vastanäyttelijäkseen Audrey Hepburnin elokuvassa Robin ja Marian.
She was highly nervous, which was understandable, totally professional, and I must say I liked her.
You there? What in hell do you want?
This is Kirkley Abbey.
Right you are, and I'm the abbess. Who are you?
Good God, it's Marian.
Rob.
Marian, what are you doing in that costume?
Living in it.
Well, I've come home to you, Marian. The wars are over. I'm here.
Well, it's Mother Janet now, and you can trot right back to Jerusalem.
You're angry.
Not with you. I haven't thought of you in 20 years.
Well, give me a smile and invite me in.
Come back tomorrow. I'll be gone. The sheriff's coming for me, and I'm off to prison.
Off to prison? Marian! What'd you say?
He has a sparkle, yes, he has. Like a child, he has an enthusiasm. It was wonderful. I don't think he could make the film he makes if he didn't have the enthusiasm.
Vuonna 1978, kun Michael Crichtonin ohjaama Kultajuna valmistui, Sean Connery oli näytellyt jo 33 elokuvassa.
The character in The Train Robbery is a rogue. A charming rogue. And there actually aren't very many charming rogues in the world. There are plenty of slimy rogues and nasty rogues, and there are plenty of charming people that are just charming, but a true charming rogue is a rare thing, and Sean is one of the people who can do it.
Do you ever tell anyone the truth?
The truth? The truth? No.
There's a way in which I wish that every project I ever did was with Sean Connery. What a delight that would be.
Conneryn 80-luvun elokuvien menestys oli täysin arvaamaton. Hän otti riskejä, joista toiset kannattivat, toiset eivät. Vuonna 1982 Sean Connery suostui esittämään vielä kerran James Bondia. Tohtori Nousta oli kulunut 21 vuotta.
Never say never, made a fortune worldwide, I guess, whatever. I think it was too serious, and I think Sean knew that the formula that really made Bond was not working, because this was not the most pleasant, like I say, situation for Sean.
I think I stopped after that. I really was pretty sickened by the making of the movie. It wasn't the best experience. And then I don't know how long, my wife will tell how long I was out. I didn't do, I think, 2 years or 2.5 years I didn't do a film.
Tehtyään viimeisen Bond-elokuvansa Connery tunsi pettymystä. Sitä lievitti rakastava vaimo, joka pystyi tarjoamaan rauhallisen kodin ja tavallisen perhe-elämän.
I think there's a real kind of quiet side that maybe only Micheline knows, maybe, I don't know. And he's got a great wife.
Sean Connerylla ja Micheline Brunilla on koteja eri puolilla maailmaa, mutta Espanjan etelärannikolla sijaitseva tila on ollut heidän tärkein pakopaikkansa yli 20 vuotta.
Encore,
You're going to put your foot... You're doing this, you're doing this.
And look at you. I bet you hold the club too tight.
Yeah, you're pretty right.
There's no question it suits my disposition and temperament better to be out of Hollywood.
Just swing it up there and pull it through.
Well, here it had been really, for him, very much like a very quiet, peaceful place very, like a clinic. He said it was my clinic, it's true.
When I first came here, you wouldn't believe how different it was. It was much, much more primitive.
It was really in a terrible state. But we fell in love with the ambience, because there was an ambience, even though it was totally derelict. It was an ambience, and we loved it. You have a nice view here, from here.
Everything that you see in the house, the concept and everything, was entirely hers. I got the easy part, I just had to pay for it.
I'm an enthusiast of coloring. I'm drunk of color. I love color. I love very bright color.
Not going to reveal what it is yet.
I love that painting. I like a painting which look like a shot of film. I love that. You know.
Michelin on tuottelias maalari. Yksi hänen töistään on Washingtonin naisten taiteen museossa.
I want to paint Sean much more than I have painted him, but he's not an easy model to have because he has not much patience. But sometimes I catch him, and sometimes I do without him, which is sometimes I make a composition from a picture or that's it. But generally he poses, yes, he poses for me. I met Sean on the golf course. He was a golfer, you know, and he was a good golfer, and I enjoyed playing with him. And then I enjoyed doing something else with him. And I fell in love with him, and he fell in love with me. And when I met Sean, he said, I don't want to play game with you. I'm basically very serious. And I said, I don't want any fight. First fight, I'm out. Because it's not my first marriage, it's my third. And I am very aware of the fragility of a relationship, and you have to really work at it. It's like a plant which is delicate, and you have to really work at it. I decided that instead of saying nothing, and taking and one day say, ciao, I had enough, which I did twice. This time I said no, I will, twice a year, for example, or 3 times a year, I will make a list of the things I'm not happy with you, and I wrote them, and because...
That was your second novel.
We come from completely different background, and he was from a very poor background, I was from a very wealthy background. But I think we have, on the whole, the same ideas about, for example, about bringing up the children, about not spoiling them at all.
Seanilla on aikaisemmasta avioliitostaan 1 poika, Jason. Michelinillä on 2 poikaa, Stefan ja Olivier, sekä tytär Marisha.
Pound for pound, yes. This one hits the ball the furthest.
Yeah, pound for pound.
Yes, pound for pound, yes. And I'll put this on television, I'll bet anybody that they can't outdrive her.
Pound for pound.
To be able to give anything or to do anything, you have to begin at home.
She's good?
Yes, she is. She never cries, this baby. No, she wouldn't dare. If you're an emotional cripple or useless, you're not going to be much use to anybody else. And so if you can get your house in order and yours kind of part of your priorities in order, you've got much more chance of doing what you want to be doing, and certainly be much better to be with.
Sean ja Michelin ovat onnistuneet luomaan yksityisen ja rauhallisen perhe-elämän Espanjassa. Aina se ei ole ollut helppoa.
It's a very heavy thing. We cannot do what we want to do. We cannot go and have walks in places and so on. And, anonymous, it's impossible. With Sean, it's impossible.
Palattuaan elokuvamaailmaan 80-luvun puolivälissä Connery on osoittanut rautaisen ammattitaitonsa. Vuonna 1988 Sean Connery nimitettiin Oscar-ehdokkaaksi elokuvasta Lahjomattomat. Se oli suuri tunnustus itseoppineelle näyttelijälle, joka aloitti uransa 35 vuotta aikaisemmin South Pacific-musikaalin tanssiryhmässä.
Somebody who did not have any of the qualifications scholastically, and it would seem to be the obvious choice if you think about it, because as an actor, I then have to acquire from then on as much as possible. And what do I have? I have only myself, or my instrument, which is me.
You got a beef. What is it?
How did you know I had a gun?
What do you want? A free lesson in police work?
No.
Are you okay, pal?
I had a rough day on the job.
Ah. Are you going home now?
I was about to.
Well then, you just fulfilled the first rule of law enforcement. Make sure when your shift is over, you go home alive. Here endeth the lesson.
That could have been Sean talking to me. That scene was an older man talking to a younger man, seeing his hurt and understanding that. That's why Sean is so successful, because he has great humanity, you know, I believe. You know, here's this mega star, but there's humanity, you know, in everything he does.
And the winner is
Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
I must say, I wasn't convinced that I would get the Oscar. It didn't seem that important to me. And I have to admit that when I did receive it, it did seem very important. I was caught with it.
I thank you all sincerely.
At the point of Untouchables, he really became untouchable. Everybody realized what a fantastic film actor he was.
If you look really at all the performances, there's not one thing he hasn't played. And he's still just on a roll. I mean, the man has not stopped.
It's not possible to look there and there.
Viimeisten 10 vuoden aikana Connery on esittänyt keskiaikaista munkkia Ruusun nimessä, Indiana Jonesin isää Spielbergin epoksessa ja nykyajan poppamiestä Amazonin aarteessa. Nousevassa auringossa hän näytteli zen-buddhalaista etsivää ja oikeuden puolustuksessa asianajajaa, jota ajoi eteenpäin halu palvella oikeutta. The Rock vuodelta 1996 kertoi siitä ainoasta miehestä, joka on koskaan painut Alcatrazin vankilasta.
I started thinking about the leading men that we have now in contemporary film, who holds the screen that way, where you really cannot take your eyes off of them, whether they're speaking or not. And I can't think of anybody who has the same combination of qualities, where it's strength, it's masculine, it's powerful, it's thoughtful, it's intelligent, it's very terrific to look at. You know, I don't think there is anybody that is his peer.
Sean, actually, I think is one of those people that is assisted by age. Because the other one that I can think of immediately is Cary Grant.
It's obvious to everybody that he didn't consume himself with the loss of hair, with the loss of, you know, it sounds trite that I even say that, but you know, there's a vanity that can run with how you're perceived, and Sean just gracefully moved right through that, and of course he didn't even miss a beat. And it's a good lesson to us all to be who we are. You know, we just don't happen to be Sean Connery.
Alec Baldwin näytteli Conneryn kanssa elokuvassa Punaisen lokakuun metsästys.
I was just beginning working in the movies, and I was kind of conscious of being on screen with people, and I thought, Sean Connery, huh? I thought, well, you know, he's got no hair, and he's kind of old now, you know, he's, you know, maybe, you know, I'll have a chance, you know, be on screen with this guy. He showed up the first day of shooting for him, and he had this incredible steel-colored gray, you know, salt and pepper hairpiece, and this beard and this uniform. And I thought, I'm dead. The guy still is the best-looking guy you've ever seen in your life. Of course, I became just a piece of furniture. whenever he was around after that.
He's very lucky because I said to him last year or the year before, I said, imagine I was, absolutely covered with wrinkles as you are and no hair, and you think anybody would say I'm the sexiest woman in the world? and they still say that about him, it's just great.
And he never lets the fact that he's a gigantic movie star either get to him or get to you.
It's like when the guy phones up and says you've been voted the sexiest man alive. Well, I mean, what are you supposed to reply to that, eh?
Sean Connery on saanut useita kunnianosoituksia. Hän on St. Andrewsin yliopiston kunniatohtori. Ranska on myöntänyt hänelle taiteellisista ansioista sekä kultaisen komentajan merkin että kunnialegioinan ristin. Ehkä kaikkein tärkein kunnianosoitus Sean Connerylle on hänen omalta kotiseudultaan Skotlannista. Hänet on valittu kunniaporvariksi kaupungissa, jonka kaduilla hän aikoinaan kuljetti maitoa.
It's a big deal, especially in Edinburgh. And they did it for Sean, who is the most famous living Scottish person.
And nobody had it for 20 years. And Prince Charles made it known that he was interested in receiving it and didn't get it. I went to the Usher Hall and I said, well, the only thing is that I insist that the people where I come from, Fountainbridge, are certainly going to be there. And they couldn't get them all in the theatre. There was 2,000 there, and there was about 10,000, 15,000 outside in the street. It was very moving. It's really an amazing honour. It's 500 years, and the people who have received it, guys like Garibaldi, Benjamin Franklin, Churchill, what really added to it was that it was the people in Edinburgh and then in turn in Scotland who voted on it.
When I was first informed about the possibility of receiving the freedom of Edinburgh, well, I was flattered and thrilled. I knew then I would not be able to express my full thanks adequately in words. I can tell you how I feel. I feel like I've gone 15 rounds with Mike Tyson, but I won. Edinburgh, I thank you.
I don't think you ever get any kind of final satisfaction. I don't think that's in the cards. I don't know anybody who has that. They'd be pretty boring, I should think, and not the kind of company I'd be wanting to be keeping.
Vuokrakasarmien kasvatista on kehittynyt moniulotteinen mies, joka on pysynyt hurmaavana poikana. Sean Connery on tätä nykyään uransa huipulla. Suositumpi ja elinvoimaisempi kuin koskaan ennen.